Van Deeb, a dynamic leader with decades of experience building companies and crushing sales. He's been there and done that.
Ladies and gentlemen, hello. My name is Van Deeb.
Inspiring audiences across the country to do it too. Here's Van.
Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to the Van Deeb podcast. I'm super excited today. I've got a gentleman that I've been admiring for decades, and that doesn't make us that old, by the way. Ricky Simmons, welcome to the show.
Thank you, man. Thank you so much, Van, for having me. I appreciate this.
I'm just glad you're here. But before we get started, I want to ask all of you to please subscribe right now to this podcast. This is a business podcast, and we also talk about life in general, but the whole purpose behind this podcast, behind the Van Deeb podcast, is to help you get better in leadership, in sales, in business, and just in life in general. So the guests I have on this show, like Ricky Simmons, will all help us become better humans. So you see that I have the football helmets in front of us. This is my helmet from UNO. And Ricky, of course, was a superstar for Nebraska Cornhuskers. So I just want to tell you right up front, the biggest difference between Ricky and I in playing college football is he was good. I was not. You would have never heard of me unless you watched that one play I got in 4 years. Now, Ricky was a household name, and you still are, not just for football, Ricky, but you're just the person you become. You know, a lot of people have experiences in life, and they let them define them.
Oh, absolutely.
You didn't. You have experience in life, and you say, that's not me.
Right.
And you're inspiring everybody that listens to your podcast. By the way, I want to promote your podcast as well, so feel free to do that while you're here. But you're making people better.
Well, Van, thank you, first of all, for saying that. My motives are really pure in this case. I lost my mom and dad in 2006. I lost both of them. You know, just that's life. But
it's hard, man.
Yeah, it's very hard. But you know, they made me promise them some things. You know, and I still live by those things today. You know, and
you can hear their voices.
Oh yeah,
because they're with you.
They're with me.
Yeah.
You know, and a lot of times when I say this, people kind of look at me like I might be off a little bit, but it's really not. I've dedicated my life since 2009 to the present day. I have dedicated my life to making them proud of me in heaven. Because for those that don't know who I am, man, I grew up in this little small town in Texas.
Texas?
Yeah, Greenville, Texas.
Where some of the best football players come from.
Well, you know, but see, man, that's funny that you say that, because, see, my story is different. I mean, and this doesn't make sense. I'm just going to tell you in advance. It doesn't make sense what I'm about to say. But football is not something that I was passionate about. Football was a deal that I made with my dad when I was in the 5th grade. And the deal was real simple. It was like, son, if you'll play football for me, I'll get you all those little things you think you got to have. Well, in the 5th grade, it was a bicycle. Okay, so I played football. Didn't like the sport, but I got the bicycle. Well, 7th, 8th grade, I started looking at women a little different, so I kind of wanted a girlfriend, but I ain't had no game, so I played football to get the new outfits and, you know, adjusted my walk a little bit. A couple of girls thought I was cool. I got a girlfriend. Well, at 16, I got a driver's license. No brainer what I wanted. Small town, 30 minutes east of Dallas, I wanted a car.
Yeah.
So I went out for the high school football team, made the team, and got the brand new car. But what I didn't factor in was football in Texas, like you said, is a very serious thing.
Serious.
Yeah, and I'm not serious about it. I mean, matter of fact, if I had to define myself, I would say I'm allergic to contact. So, I mean, how many football players don't want to have contact?
Yeah.
So they put me basically at running back, and I was cool with that because had a little speed, so I could kind of manipulate.
You had a lot of speed.
Well, I could manipulate things, you know, from a running back. But what happened was I ended up having a lot of success in high school, and I actually, at the end of 10 games, I led the state of Texas in rushing. I had like 1,500 yards plus and about 18 touchdowns or more. And I got recruited by all these different colleges, and I was not trying to play college football. But my parents were both school teachers with master's degrees. So I knew I had to go to college. So I figured, well, the money they saved for college, I could take that money and live the lifestyle that I wanted to live and take one of these scholarships to pay for the schooling. Well, I had a high school teammate that was actually a senior. When he was a senior in high school, I was a junior. So we were teammates. But he got a scholarship to Oklahoma. And he came back after my senior year. He came back with Barry Switzer. And they're sitting in my living room telling me all the things I want to hear. Yeah. And doorbell rings. And my mother says, baby, go see who's at the door. So I go to the door, and I open the door, and there's this tall redhead man standing there. And I'm like, how can I help you? He says, hi, are you Ricky? I'm like, well, yes, I am. He goes, my name is Tom Osborne. I'm the head coach of Nebraska. I'm here to offer you a scholarship and go to school at Nebraska and play football. I was like, and I misunderstood him, Van. I thought he said he was from Alaska.
Oh,
so I told him, hey, sir, I'm sorry, it snows up there.
Alaska, Nebraska, pre-law, pre-med, it's all the same.
I was like, I believe it snows up there, sir. I can't do that. So, I shut the door.
It snows up there. I can't do that.
Yeah, and so my mom said, baby, who's at the door? I said, Mom, some tall redhead man from Alaska. I told him to go ahead. It's snow up there. And my mom runs to the door, opens the door, and Coach Osborne still standing there with his arms crossed. And so when she invited him in, I was looking at Barry Switzer asking for the things that I wanted. And Barry was like, yeah, we can make that happen. Then he saw Coach Osborne and my mom going to the den. He goes, oh, man. I'm like, what's wrong? I can't have it now? I'm very selfish.
Two legends in the same room
at
the same time.
But I didn't know all that. Yeah. I'm 17 years old. Yeah. I'm like, well, how come I can't have it? Then I saw Coach Osborne. I was like, oh, man, don't worry about that, dude. It's snow up there. I ain't going up there. But what I didn't realize was my parents and Coach Osborne had a meeting prior to the meeting. And so I asked, Barry Switzer and my teammate to wait outside in the car, and I'd come get him when we got done listening to what Coach Osborne had to say. Well, Coach Osborne never really said nothing. He just sit there. And my mom did all the talking. And I was like, Mom, they're not offering nothing. Just a scholarship, I was looking at the material side. And my dad went outside while I was listening to what I wasn't going to get and telling all the other schools, go ahead. We made our mind up. And also had Oklahoma in that, told them to go ahead. So when I realized that when I went outside and they weren't there, nobody was there, not Oklahoma, nobody. So I come back in, and my dad, who's a very serious man, he's like, he was sitting there looking at me, and I was like, Dad, where's the school that I want to go to? And, man, I think, my dad was not a no-nonsense guy. He raised his pants up to about his chest, balled up both fists, and said, we made our mind up. And I'm like, no, Dad, my mind just went down the street. And he's like, he started walking toward me with his fist balled up, and he wasn't smiling, so I made a business decision. I started bagging up. And when I couldn't bag up any further, I took all the bass out of my voice. I said, Dad, where are we going? He said, we're going to Nebraska. I said, go Big Red. So that's actually how I got to Nebraska.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, and I know a lot of people don't believe that because we did have a lot of success when I was at Nebraska. Mike Rozier is like my closest friend to this very day, won the Heisman. Urban Fryer, my other close friend, the other receiver, was first person picked in the draft. Turner Gill was everything quarterback. Yep. Dean Steinkooler was Outland. I mean, we had a good squad, and we even had a really good run that senior year. It was 12-0, number one team in the nation for 12 weeks. So we just went down to Miami for that third straight Orange Bowl, and we went for 2. And that was my last game, and we missed it.
I remember it very well. So I went to UNO about the same time, and I played football there, but a lot of my friends played for Lincoln.
Mm-hmm.
So we would go, our games were at night, most of them, and we would, after our games, a lot of times we'd get in the car and we'd go to Lincoln, and we'd party with you guys. Because I had good friends like Dan Hurley.
Yep.
Mark Goodspeed.
Yep, I know those guys.
Dan, oh gosh. Well, there's just a ton. Tony Felici.
Yep.
Dave Remington.
Big Dave.
All those are my class.
Oh, yeah.
So we're all 77. Felici, Remington, myself, and so we all knew each other in Omaha. So
gotcha.
a lot of us guys that weren't good enough to play for Nebraska, we played for UNO. But we would come hang out with you guys.
Gotcha.
And and it was always fun for us to do that.
Man, well, I'll be honest with you, man. I had the pleasure of playing with some guys that are still friends to this very day. And
it's a fraternity, isn't it?
Yeah, well, it's like a brotherhood.
It's a brotherhood is a better way to put it.
Yeah, because I look at all the players that played before me, like Jeff Kinney, John Rogers, Tony Davis. Those guys are my big brothers.
Or do know all those guys.
Yeah, and then the guys that played after me, they're my little brothers, right down to the current players.
Yeah, and that's the way it was with me, too, it was kind of funny because I went to a high school, Burke High School, and we were rivals with a high school in Omaha. This is an international podcast, just to let you know we're in Omaha, Nebraska. But we used to be rivals with Omaha West Side.
Okay.
And, I mean, just bad rivals. And then we get to college, and I'm in the locker room where I'm getting to know these guys from West Side. Well, all of a sudden we become best friends. And still, 40 years later, whatever still it is, we're all still very tight. And care deeply about each other and stay in touch with each other. And it's just really, so it is special. A brotherhood.
Yeah, that's special. And see, that's something you can't put a price on.
Yeah. And you had a lot of recognition. I mean, you were recognized as one of the greatest players Nebraska's ever had. And I remember watching you, and it was just a thrill. I mean, here I'm playing ball myself, but I'm in awe of people like you. Another big difference is you started, and I usually didn't get in unless the cheerleaders were hurt. So I would wake up on a Saturday morning, and I couldn't wait to see my name in the paper on Saturday. They'd always have the depth chart.
Yeah.
And it was just so bad because I'd read the depth chart and it said, number 1 linebacker, right side linebacker, Bob Dannenhauer. Second team, John Benden. Third team, no one. Fourth team, Van Deeb. It was a big ego shot to say that the person ahead of me is no one. That's how good I was.
Well, you know what, though? I got to be honest with your audience, too, man. Those are the positives, but there were some negatives.
Yeah, I want to hear, because we know about what a successful college athlete you were, and but tell us about the rest of life after college.
Well, I got drafted into this league called the USFL, and really wasn't trying to play pro ball, but there again, looked at the contract and was like, well, maybe I can keep playing.
I'll take a couple of bucks.
Yeah, I'll take the money. So I played for those reasons. But in my first season with a team called the Washington Federals, I picked up a drug addiction. And didn't really know it was a drug addiction. I just thought I was just doing what people do. And it lasted I started all 18 games as a rookie, and it lasted all the way through that season, but we lost a ton of games. So the owner sold our team. Second year, we was in Orlando, Florida. We was the Orlando Renegades. Did it all the way through that season. Then after that, the league folded because we tried to go head up with the NFL, which was a mistake. So I got picked up by Atlanta Falcons. And before I could play my first game, which I came in with a lot of hype at Atlanta, I was supposed to do big things and replace Billy White.
Excited to have you.
Yeah, Billy White Shoes Johnson was the guy I was brought in to replace, and he was hand teaching me his position because he had just had his third D operation. So things were going great, but I'm an addict and didn't know it. And so I did what addicts do. I went and found drugs one day, and once I found these drugs, I was doing them by myself now, and the cocaine was my drug of choice, and it convinced me that football was getting in the way of my using. So I quit the NFL.
Because you're not thinking straight.
Right. I quit the NFL like 2 days before my first game. We were going to play the New Orleans Saints. And I walked into the head coach's office and told him I quit. And they thought I was joking. They said, look, Corn Husker, go get dressed. We're going to feature you against the Saints. I was like, okay. And I left, but I didn't go to the locker room. I went to my car. I never came back. So I so I missed Thursday's practice, Friday practice, Saturday practice, and missed the game Sunday. I was released on Monday. And so after that, I went on a 25-year cocaine binge.
Oh, my gosh, Ricky.
Yeah. I went from the NFL to prison 4 times. I went to 10 treatment centers, and I graduated 9 of them.
And look at you now.
Yeah, well, how I got to this was I was in prison for the 4th time, had lost everything, didn't have a lot of hope, but always had this upbringing of loving myself. I always try to frame it like this. I wasn't suicidal. I was more homicidal, if that makes any sense. I don't want to hurt me, but I would hurt someone else.
Because the people that love you are the ones you're hurting.
Yeah.
Because they're rooting for you. Get better, Ricky. Get better.
Yeah.
And you're not.
Yeah. And I wasn't intentionally trying to hurt Ricky.
Yeah.
But anyways, after I lost everything, and my parents are now in heaven, and I'm in prison, and I'm really not. I don't got a lot going on. I'm just here. And this little guard, I never will forget it. He used to pick on me every day. He was like, "Inmate Simmons, former Husker superstar," and I was like, "Man, one of these days I'm going to do something to you. You keep messing with me." Well, this one day.
I will get out one day.
Yeah, and this one day in particular, he come down the hallways like, "Inmate Simmons, former Husker superstar." I'm like, "Man, you know what? I just heard some bad news about my chess partner. I really don't want to, I'm not in the mood for you today." And he goes, "You got mail." And Van, I got very, very upset when he said that because I wasn't receiving mail. I wasn't receiving visits. I had no money. So he had this letter in his hand. He threw it on the floor because I guess he saw the look in my eyes. And in my opinion, I call it God. But I knew I wasn't getting no mail. But for some reason, I stopped to get this letter off the floor because I felt like it was my cellie's mail. And he was getting mail on a regular. But from the floor to putting it on his bunk, I glanced at it, and it had a red N in the corner. Nebraska Athletic Department, and it was made out to Ricky Simmons. I was embarrassed because I hadn't talked to nobody in Nebraska football for over 20 years. And after a couple of minutes, I got my courage up, and I opened the letter. It said...
anticipation must be just...
Oh, man, I'm embarrassed.
What's inside of this?
Yeah, who's writing me and why?
Yeah.
So I opened that letter up. It said, "Dear Ricky, I know your parents believed in you. I believe in you. And upon your release, if there's anything I can do to help you, feel free to contact me." And it was signed Tom Osborne.
Oh, geez.
And from that point on, I fell on my knees right there in my prison cell. I turned my life over to Christ. I got up off my knees, and my thinking started changing. And shortly after that, I got released. I went, because Coach Osborne was still the AD at Nebraska at the time when he wrote that letter. So I went to the football stadium, which was a very tough thing to do, because I hadn't been there in 20 years. And when I got there, his secretary was like, "Coach is waiting for you." Like, how do you know I was coming? I guess he knew my release date. So I went, and I just told him, I said, "Man, I want to thank you for the letter." He goes, "Oh, Ricky, it was just a letter." He just downplays it.
It wasn't just a letter.
But that's how he does it.
Right.
And I kept telling him, I was like,
but
"Coach,"
to you, it was everything.
I'm like, "Coach, you just don't know.
Yeah.
You don't know what I was getting ready to do when that letter came." It was the timing also, because I was going to do something that probably would have kept me in prison for life. Well, he listened. He says, "Well, what are you thinking?" And I told him what I wanted to do, and he said, "I love it. I'll put my name behind it." And I'm sitting here today, 16 years clean and sober, and I'm going around the country helping people at all different levels, youth to adults, make better changes or choices in life.
I want to make a couple comments. One is, what the audience just witnessed is the power of making somebody feel like they matter.
Correct.
It happened in the form of a letter to you.
Correct.
You read it. You said to yourself, "This person recognizes I'm somebody. I matter. I'm a child of God. He's not putting me on an island. He's making me feel accepted."
Right.
That made you realize how important God is, how important faith, because that was a godly thing.
Absolutely.
That wasn't a mailman thing. That was a godly thing.
Absolutely.
You getting that letter in your hands. But the other thing is, you're charged now with making other people feel like they matter.
Correct.
So you're 16 years of, if I can do this, I'm going to educate others.
That's exactly
what
it
I'd
is.
like to know is, how can my audience get in touch with you? Is there a website? Because speakers like you are the type that I hire for my company, because I want people that I love and care about to learn from people that have been there and done that.
Correct.
I'm not good myself at listening to people that say, hey, Van, here's what you should do because I read it in a book.
Right.
I want to listen to people that says, I fell down, I made mistakes, I'm human, God picked me back up along with some other notable people, and this is how you get back on your feet. You're the type of people that guys like me learn from. And so I'd love for you to share, how can people get a hold of you?
Well, thank you for saying those nice things. If people want to reach me, they can. I'm on all, Facebook, Instagram, X, TikTok under Ricky C. Simmons.
RickyCSimmonsIsCool.com.
No, but my website is close to that. My website is RickyCSimmons.com, and I have all the information you may need there. And I also have a foundation called RCS Triumph.
Yes.
And that's something that my website covers as well.
So they can find out more about your foundation on your website.
Correct.
RickyCSimmons.com.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the thing is, how the foundation came about was from 2010 to 2015. You know, and for the last 16 years, I've been going to see Coach Osborne once a week, just an accountability thing. And it only lasts like 2 minutes. Well, I think it was 2015. I had been going for 10 years. I mean, for 5 years straight, every once a week. And I went in. I went in and I was like, I never sit down because he's always sitting down. I was like, hey, Coach, he said, how you doing, Ricky? I'm like, good. He goes, I said, Coach, I'm still using you as a reference. Just want you to see me and see that I'm still doing okay. And he said, yeah, I've been hearing good things about you, but I need you to have a seat. And I felt like a little kid because I knew he never made me sit down before because I ain't going to be here that long. So I sit down and he's like, Ricky, how many speeches are you doing where they're paying you for your gas, your plane ticket, or your hotel? And I tried to play it off. I was like, oh, no, Coach, I just love what I do, and, you know, I want to help people. He says, no more free stuff, Ricky. So that's when I created RCS Triumph Inc. Foundation. And that way I take donations, and if somebody in Alabama reaches out to me on social media or in a private message and go, man, we'd really love to have you come speak, but we just don't have the funds to pay you. Well, then if my foundation is funded, then I can, you know, meet with the board and they'll say this is a great cause, then you go ahead and the foundation will cover everything. So
the foundation's there to help facilitate opportunities for you to reach people. Correct. They can't afford it.
Right. And see, and unfortunately, I talk to all different groups.
Levels, kids.
Yeah, kids, high school, colleges, athletic programs, businesses, car dealerships, churches. I go everywhere.
Because it's a human thing.
Yes.
It's not what you've been through has nothing to do with any career specific.
Right.
It's a human, everybody can go through this.
Correct. Anybody can.
Who would you say your most influential group to speak to?
I love like what I did last Friday. I spoke to a residential treatment center. I love going in there because that to me,
no hope.
Yes, and they can see it. Versus like you say, hey man, I read this, and if you do this, you got a chance. Well, no. I'm the genius here. You know, I did all that. I did the hard work for you. You know, I'm so smart. I figured out how to go from the NFL to prison.
Yeah, right.
Multiple times. So I always tell people I'm very qualified to speak on this behalf. And also, I like a lot of humor. So I'll be quick to say stuff like, well, you know, I have a PhD in making mistakes. You know, I like for people to understand that I'm a human too. Yeah. I just got 16 years of one day at a time to get to where I'm at.
You made something, the key word that I discuss in business and in life is you made the D word. You made a decision.
Correct.
You made a decision. I want to be Ricky C. Simmons, the advocate to help people believe in themselves.
Correct.
To help people know that your past is not your future.
Correct.
And you're the type of person today, Ricky, people need now more than ever because people are hurting. And it's not just people that have been in prison. Mm-hmm. It's not just people that have learned life lessons. People are hurting today. They did a study, and Dylan, our great producer, has heard me say this before. They did a study back in 1998 that 1 out of 8 people have some form of anxiety, depression, or mental illness. They did that same study in 2022, and it's 1 out of 2.5 people now. So that tells you that people that have been through what you've been through and people that haven't been still need to hear your message of hope, of faith, and believing in yourself. And, I'd like to encourage anybody listening or watching this podcast, if you work for a company that's philanthropic and they care about humans, I'm going to challenge people to go to their boss and say, hey, would you sponsor Ricky to come speak to our local high school or our local university or their company? Because if you could get some people that would say, hey, I'll sponsor you, pay your fee, all your expenses, and we want you to come speak to XYZ high school.
Oh, man, I would love that.
And that's a very simple ask to their company. And the company is the one that would be the hero. Because, they would be Ricky Simmons brought to you by ABC company.
Right, correct.
And I think that if more people would reach out to their employers and say, hey, there's a guy named Ricky Simmons that's changing people's lives. We need him in our town to speak to this group. I just think that's a great idea. And there's not a lot of facilitation there.
No, that would be a dream come true for me.
Yeah, and that's what should happen.
Yeah, and I hope that it does happen, and I'm holding out hope that it will happen. Yeah. Because one thing I do know, if I don't know anything else, I know that drug addiction, for example, we're just going to pick on addiction.
Yeah.
Addiction is not going anywhere.
No.
They're not. I've yet to see a liquor store say, hey, you know what, we can't sell this liquor, so we're just going to go out of business.
Yeah.
I haven't seen that yet.
Yeah.
So, and drugs seem to be the same. They just keep coming up with new ones.
Yes.
And, and then unfortunately, I'm not down in our youth, but our youth has the genius complex too. Yeah.
Entitlement.
They feel like they're smarter than their parents.
Right.
So therefore, you got that to work with.
Believe me, I can relate to that.
Yeah, well, dad or mom, you don't know. You just smoked a little weed back in the day.
Yeah.
You don't know nothing about this. Yeah. So I'm the bridge.
Yeah.
I can bridge that gap because I can get right down on their level.
Yeah, and the way I look at it, Ricky, is that you're doing God's work. You're a messenger, and if you're living your life that way, the rest of your life is, And I like to dumb things down. I don't like to complicate things. I'm not one of those guys that like to keep it simple.
Yeah.
I also say I have a PhD in common sense because I think that's what makes us. That's what makes everything work. But you're doing God's work by letting people know every time you have an audience. This is why it's important that people promote Ricky Simmons. You're letting people know you're not alone. And people need, even if that was your message right now where, you're not alone, especially if you have faith.
Correct.
You got the greatest man in the world watching over you.
Correct.
If you have faith.
Correct.
You can't get anybody better than that.
Right.
But if you can also hang out with people, I know when you make a decision to not do drugs, to not drink, and to be a better human and be a productive citizen while you're here on this earth, you're also encouraging all these people in your camp. If somebody says, gosh, John used to be in drugs and alcohol and now he's not, wow, and look at the life he's living, he's going to encourage, empower, and inspire other people to be like him. So your message is going several layers deep.
And that's the whole concept.
Yeah.
You just summed it all up. I couldn't have did that any better. I just want opportunities to help
people. To be in front of people.
Yeah, and help, man.
Yeah.
Because, see, the thing is, after the fact, there's not a lot I can do. Yeah. After you've already committed a crime or after you've already...
They've got to go through the process.
Yeah, after you have an accident. Yeah. I mean, I can't change, but I'm in prevention.
Yes. Don't get there.
Yeah, look, man, I've already done that.
Let me help you not go there.
Correct. and sometimes I have to use humor because everybody is not wanting to be talked to in a certain way.
And
so
humor resonates.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, well, like I say, I stay up under the bus, so I'm cool with that.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm comfortable under there
Yeah.
because to me, if throwing myself under the bus will help someone else not have to go under the bus,
Yeah.
I'm cool with that.
Oh, man, Ricky, that's a really good way to put it. And, you know, this podcast, the Van Deeb podcast, is pro-business. But in order to be great at business as a leader, as a great employer, employee, salesman, you got to be a great human first, because
Right.
none of that will happen unless you're a great human and you're doing good in your own life. The rest will follow. And I highly promote Ricky Simmons. I love what you're doing. I've been following you. I know, Ricky, you are making a difference in everybody's life you touch. You need to be in front of people. And I'm going to ask, once again, my audience, if you know anybody that's holding an event and they're looking for a speaker, or be proactive and go to people and say, hey, you should bring Ricky Simmons in. You know, probably even sign a couple autographs from him being a rock star in for Nebraska football. You get some pictures with him. It only cost me $1,000 to get a picture with him. But he's a guy I really admire. But I want to also ask you to please subscribe to this podcast, because I want this in your inbox every couple weeks so you can be up to date on the best ways to live a great life. And Ricky Simmons, I could talk to you for hours. I'm going to ask you if you'll do me a favor. Can I have you back on?
Oh, absolutely. All you got to do is let me know when and where. I'll be there.
I'm just going to dress different because I want to look as cool as you.
No. I'm just a pebble on your beach.
I'm going to I'm going to get a stylist to look as good as Ricky Simmons. But thank you.
Thank you,
I'm a
man.
big fan of yours, and I love you, and I'm grateful for you.
Well, I love the fact that you care, man.
Yeah, well, I care about people that are
Yeah.
making a difference in people's lives, and you're doing it. You're not talking about it. You're doing it.
That's the plan.
That's the plan. So thank you all for listening and watching the Van Deeb podcast.